Sony, like I said, are they dead? No. But I'm going to tell you this right now, and maybe a lot of people don't want to hear this. Maybe people are going to applaud this. If you think it stops with Nintendo and PC where they're putting their games, you are bugged out. You are not reading the room correctly, because they have to replenish their coffers. And Helldivers 2 isn't the game that's going to be getting them there. Yes, they're making money. People are still playing it. People are still buying it. People are spending on microtransactions. Great. But it is not what Xbox is doing with their gas games. They have one, right? MLB The Show, how many people are buying that? I don't know. How many people are spending money on it? I don't know, but it can't be to great degree, which is why that's one of those games that were forced onto Switch and Xbox.
Alright everybody, welcome back to another Xvault Gaming video. Xvault here, and today we're going to go over your next dose of the Salty Batch files, and of course we're going to preface this by stating we haven't gotten through all of the salt in regards to Gears of War and other situations, so we don't want to leave those behind, and it seems like people forget that Gears of War is indeed coming over to PlayStation 5, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump to it. Alright, so like I was saying, let's get right to it here in regards to the salt. In regards to our first example here, coming up right away, we have Jassim here in regards to the response from Gears of War Reloaded, also coming to the PlayStation 5. First time ever, making history here. As we continue going on, he's tagging Sarah Bond, Satya, Phil Spencer, and of course Aaron Greenberg. I'm going to say this as nicely as I can. F you, is what he's saying to them. In addition to that, Ali wants to tag on a tagline, a one-liner here, F them all, with all caps in the beginning. Very upset, very displeased with the whole situation. This is the consensus with a lot of the normalized, and yes, I'm going to call this normalized Xbox fans, because they do heavily believe in that ecosystem, wanted it to succeed, but again, Game Pass playing a severe role in this, Phil Spencer playing a severe role in this, and the casuals and the hardcores playing a hand in this as well by buying into that full basket, which is known as Game Pass, right? So here we are, they're reaping what they sow. Nobody wanted to listen, buy your games, probably should have done that. Let's go to our next example here. So, Glitch Hedberg here states, it's so crazy how at the start of this gen they had all this good favor and momentum, and they threw it all away for fast cash. What a horrible mishandling of a legacy brand that defined people's childhoods, so careless and shameful. I mean, they had good favor at the start and momentum at this gen. I don't think they did. That's where the consensus lies, right? They didn't have good favor at this point. I mean, people from Xbox One, they thought that was just like, you know what? It's a throwaway generation. Yes, they got manhandled. Yes, a lot of bad things happened right from the get-go, this and that. They were expecting much, but at this point in time, halfway through this generation cycle, if not more, depending on how you look at it, they didn't have any momentum going on. They were completely dry for a couple years, entirely this generation alone. Now you think they're losing good favor? I would think you would start losing good favor in regards to a fan, including myself, if the ecosystem that I'm invested into is not giving me anything for an entire year, over an entire year at some point, right? That is absolutely crazy, and they didn't ask for any better, didn't demand any better. They were okay with not receiving anything because the mantra of hurry up and wait was the key to that factor. But a legacy brand that defined people's childhoods. Mishandling has been happening, like I said, from last gen all the way through here. And yes, what a fumbled bag. What a fumbled bag entirely through one of the most extensive and rich companies that there are out there. So when we're talking about corpo bootlicking, maybe you should have held somebody with a lot more in their pocket, a little more accountable, and maybe they wouldn't have headed in this direction. But you know what? Careless and shameful is the least of the words here. But let's keep going on here. So as we continue, Anakin Goose. So, translation here stating, it's becoming increasingly clear to me that Xbox died on the 360 as a brand, but the trust of those who were here during the dark years of Xbox One has been lost forever. They spat in the faces of those users, and money can't buy that. I'm glad some of these guys are starting to see the light, right? They're starting to see the light that's come forth. They're starting to see what Xbox could have been, what Xbox should have been. I mean, I was a multi-console user all the way through 360. I did back off during the Xbox One gen, still had every iteration of Nintendo, had every iteration of PlayStation, dabbled in other platforms, still dabbled in PC, but I've always exceptionally been into every fold, so to speak. But you know, if somebody like myself that wanted everything, and we're talking about a dude that's still one of my favorite consoles of all time, the Sega Dreamcast, I mean, if I knew not to invest in this, I don't know why people just have their blinders on. After the 360, and even during 360, my taste buds were becoming more sour as time went on. With the red rings of death, with the $100 adapter for being wireless, the HDD failing and it going to the Blu-ray side of things. I mean, I can list the list that goes on and on and on. The writing was on the wall from that point in time. Now, at that point in time, did they have time to change things? Did they have time to change the future of Xbox, where it was headed, what that path was? Absolutely. Again, we're talking about, let's harken right back to previously, right? One of the richest companies out there. They could have single-handedly bagged every acquisition back then and hammered in the exclusivity, because that's what's going to draw them, especially during those generations, is going to draw people to your ecosystem, is exclusives, killer IPs, games you had to have, must play day one on that console, in that ecosystem. They didn't do it. When we're talking about fumbling, folks, this has been a long time coming of fumbling so hard with all this almost limitless money. As the fanboys and shills like to remind us all the time, they have such deep pockets, but they don't do anything with it because they want to put it in the tried and true method of, hey, let's invest more to our computer side of things, Excel and Word and all the stuff there that they're doing. Let's invest some more research and development for Edge and redo that, right? That browser there, which admittedly has been gotten a lot better, right? But they're going to invest in that sort of stuff where they see growth and sustainability and profit, as opposed to them now not doing that, right? So they're only going to go so far. They never truly believed in Xbox as a product, I don't think. I think they wanted to see what caught fire and went with it. I think they got their heads turned so far up their booties that, you know, that's what happened with the Xbox One generation, much like kind of PlayStation did with the PS3 right out the gate. But PS3, PlayStation was able to turn that around, understand the severity of the issue, understanding that Sony really needed the gaming department that they invested so heavily into. And I think Microsoft, and when I say think, I know Microsoft doesn't care and didn't care. Like, hey, either this works or it doesn't. And we got backup plans and we can move on. They do that a lot. Zuni, Mixer, right? All sorts of stuff. I mean, failed products one after the other. And not saying PlayStation or the Sony brand hasn't had failed products in the past as well, but they want to bounce back. They don't have as much lucrative funds to continually fail. So they want to make sure most of their products, their Sony Bravia TVs and so on and so forth, and every other product, that they want to put some quality behind that and make sure that that is a success in any way, shape, or form. But again, they're not perfect, but there's just a nuance and a difference to it. But before we keep going off on that tangent, you know, people are very upset. Like I said, at the direction of Xbox and the brand, and Gears just bringing this to the light, right? Essentially. Next example being Big Party Pack, don't abandon now. Be a real Xbox fan, stay till the end. So they want to go down with the ship so bad, guys. This is pretty crazy. And then Miguel chimes in, right? This is the end. Final nail in the coffin. Gears of War. I'm used to GOW being God of War. Gears of War on PlayStation. Even for me, this is new to say on PlayStation, right? But at least Miguel's being truthful here. But again, if you think this is the nail in the coffin, Wait for Master Chief Collection. Like I said, the salt, the outpour that we're going to get and receive from that alone, even if it's just Infinite first, but I truly believe we're getting the Master Chief Collection first on PlayStation before we receive Infinite, but who knows? Microsoft's wonky, but I still feel pretty strongly we're seeing Master Chief Collection sooner than later. And again, you want to talk about the salt, like I mentioned previously, holy crap, that's going to be something else. And no, don't be a real fan and stay till the end. That's not how that works. I mean, if you truly want to throw away your time and money, be my guest, but I personally wouldn't do that. Again, shoe on other foot. I don't have some sort of PlayStation tattoo. I don't have some sort of brand loyalty in regards to them going down that deep. If they started making mistakes as Xbox has been doing for years and years and years, I'm sorry. I'm going to see the writing on the wall and do what's best for me as a consumer and a gamer, but that's just me. So let's keep going here. James chimes in. I used to like Phil Spencer, but I realize he's a crappy CEO. It's surprising he still has his job after all this time. I think all of y'all used to like Phil Spencer because he was a gamer. He was relatable. He gave off the impression that he wanted to do what's best for the brand and for the gamers out there, right? And again, we harken back to that used car salesman talk, right? He swindled you guys really hard. I mean, this sounds arrogant, but it's not arrogance, right? I did see this. I mean, I'm used to the car salesman's tactics. I'm used to sales. I used to do a lot of that stuff back in the day. So I see him right through it, right? You're a figurehead, right? That's what the bottom line is. He's not going to put that to the side and be like, guys, I'm doing this for you. As a matter of fact, I'm taking a big old cut in my bonus and I'm going to give you guys free games and here's this and that. That's not how that works. And just because you were part of the brand for so long doesn't mean you have all the pull in the world either. I'm sure some other directives from Satya and others were kind of pulling him in one way, shape, or form as well. But it's all just a guise, right? That's all it is. But don't ever believe in any CEO. I don't care who it is. Do not believe in them. Look at the reality of the matter. Look at the data. Look at where the brand is heading and headed. And what have they done for you? You are the consumer. You are the customer, right? You need to have that give and pull, that push and pull, right? That give and take. You need to see what's in it for you. If you're not seeing that, you need to hold these companies accountable. If you do that enough, you will see some change. You will see a notch in the right direction. I promise you that. It's just been too little too late at this point in time. I don't see them doing a 180. I've stated this multiple times before. I don't see them doing a 180. It is what it is. Don't believe in CEOs. Okay? Let's go to the next example here. So Azuride here. I regret buying a Series X at launch so bad. I'm sure you're not alone. Glitch Hedberg chimes in again. I don't think there's a single Series X owner who doesn't feel that way after all of Phil Spencer's lies. At least some people are being honest. Some people are starting to see those cracks, right? Or have seen them, right? They should hold a press conference today to rip off the Band-Aid for all their games. The fact that they will keep letting it trickle out this way shows they want to mislead gamers. Glitch, I really, really applaud you in this response. I do. Because I agree. Just rip the Band-Aid off. We've already said, and they've already said, everything's an Xbox, right? Your TVs, your iPads, your refrigerators, in context, right? All sorts of stuff that can play or stream Game Pass or any of their Xbox games is considered an Xbox to them. They clearly have shifted that direction. Have you been hiding under a rock now? That's the direction they're at. Everything is an Xbox, right? So just rip off the Band-Aid. Give that roadmap out. This is what we have planned for all of our partners out there. We're essentially third party. We may have some hardware. Be on the lookout for this and that. It is what it is, right? We have the thumbnail today, right? They just recently announced some sort of milk container here for an Xbox, like an Xbox branded milk container in the shape of an Xbox Series X. And whatnot. Like, what are we doing here? Why not just announce at this point in time? Because you are trickling the information out there. You are leading your fan base astray. And anybody that's defending that is absolutely loony. They're Looney Tunes to the max, man. What can I say more than that? The writing is completely 110% on the wall, and you still have people defending it. It's okay. I game where I want. At least I still get to play the games. But for how long? How long do you trust this ecosystem with your time and money? How long? That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking you to abandon them. I'm not asking you to pick up a PlayStation over anything else. I'm just asking you, as an Xbox fan, because we have Astro and many others that stock these channels, right? They hate watch. But I'm asking you, honestly, take a step back. Let me know. Let me know down in the comments below. I want to hear. Why? Why? What's keeping you there at that point in time? Do you trust in that brand? Are you okay? I mean, if you're okay with renting, nothing matters to you, honest to God, that's fine. Whatever. But I'm just curious, man. For those of you that want a console going forward, knowing that that's up in the air, they announced they for sure will have more hardware. They might. But can you really hold them accountable that they will? I just can't believe it. But let's continue on here. We have a couple more examples here. Risk It for the busted can of biscuits. Says one thing, does another, but I did think this was hilarious. So with the announcement of Gears of War, right, what does he post? Yes, we have this receipt. I'll just go F myself. Just buy a hashtag PlayStation in regards to the announcement of Gears of War. Obviously, it wasn't too long later, too much later, that he did come back and defending all this Xbox stuff and PlayStation still trash, blah, 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 blah. But again, the foundations start to crack. Eventually, they'll slip and say something. Until eventuality, this is how it's going to be. They're either going to get a PC and invest in that wholly, or they're going to get a PlayStation, or they just may say, you know what, I'm just going to mess around with a Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever new Nintendo products out there, or who knows. But it's just, you see the cracks forming, right? I love to see it. I love to see it because, I mean, we told you. We told you this was going to happen. He even knew this was going to happen. Lied to his fan base. Overhyped stuff. It's not the first time Risk It for the busted can of biscuits has lied multiple times, but here he is trying to cope. Almost gave in completely, but again, saved himself because a couple hours later he was back on the wagon of hating PlayStation and Xbox is the best thing ever kind of situation. But for our final example, another person coping, they couldn't handle it in regards to Gears of War coming over to PlayStation. Again, Snap Blast play this idiot here. Game over. Continue. Yes, no. Obviously getting ready to select no. He's about had enough as well. I mean, Gears of War is the breaking point, right? We had that holy trinity. Halo, Gears, Forza.
Halo, Gears, and Forza.
The cracks are there. Like I said, when Halo is officially, and I think it's history making that Gears of War is over there. It's history making when Forza's over there on PlayStation for the first time. Halo, when that happens, it's going to be crazy. The final piece of Mount Rushmore. It's going to happen. I love it. I love it. You love to see it from these talking heads. That's what I like. For the actual Xbox fans, again, I feel bad for it. Again, they tried to do their best, but idiots like these led the way and did more harm than good to the brand. But that being said, we'll wrap up the video here, folks. I appreciate it. If you made it through the entirety of the video, thank you so much. If you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing, helping out a small content creator like myself. In addition, if you haven't liked or commented down on this video, I would appreciate it. Also, would love to hear from you. Both those things do help out the algorithm, of course. And of course, at the end of the day, just always remember, don't be a salty batch. And we'll see y'all next time on the next Xvault Gaming video. And until then, take care.